Hi, Capricorn. I only have so much time with you today, but I think that's for the best. I think that most of you are in a very good space for the most part, but the thing about Pisces season is you can't rush what it wants to do and what it wants to change into and what the process is. There is much more for you to understand and integrate in this time, and it's time to do. It's time to put your skills to use, especially if you have creative skills that you've been wanting to use for a while but haven't been. Hold on. If there's anything that you've been, especially Mercury being direct right now, you can have all of the energy and the availability and the space to create whatever it is that you're wanting to start. You can make a really big stride at this moment with whatever, again, is on your table. And Pisces season is behind you, because if that's what you decide to do, it's only going to help secure any of the insecurities that have come up this past year, especially with Venus being in your sign for so long, or any of the parts that you feel like are not totally under your control. You have all of these opportunities and situations coming into your life to navigate, decide, and understand what it means to not only stand your ground, but stand your ground in a way where there's no power dynamic. You're also noticing where maybe you've created power dynamics in your life. There's so much yellow, there's so much brightness, there's so much opportunity, availability for your vision, for what you're setting out to do, even morally. But it's also going to help at the same time shift the narrative that you may have in your head about people who are older than you, above you, father figures, even how our masculine identity, perhaps, and how you stand out, and what it looks like when you're the person in the spotlight, or you're the person that needs to acknowledge what is happening, but also understand that I think you know this very well, but when your pride gets in the way, you stand in the way of something burning down, even if it's one of your own belief structures. And it's really important that the Tower moment comes up to show you that it's not that you can't handle or help resolve what is falling. It's more of just like, wouldn't it be better to start from the ground up? And that's what the Magician and the Four of Wands to the Three of Wands to the King of Wands is like. What do you do under your power? What can you do under your power with the power that you have? And how do you decide from here what that looks like, especially from your own point of view? Because it seems like you're coming into this, you might be colliding with someone and you're like, hey, there's something, and this other person may be completely ignoring it or not being willing to acknowledge it until it actually happens. And you're seeing something before it actually happens, so you're wanting to put your best foot forward. There also could be someone in your life who's asking you for help, who may seem like they have it all figured out, but they need help financially. They got it together emotionally, but they might need help financially, or your validation, perhaps. This is about you entering situations differently. You're someone that doesn't know how to do business first and foremost, but when things are falling down, certain things probably tend to slow down. Though it could seem that way, it's really important how you handle this. I know it seems like no big deal, but think for this situation that's going on as of right now, it's Five of Swords to Four of Swords. You have, and I'll show you the cards in the second part, by the way, side note. Link below for Patreon second part, and all information to work with me there below as well when we look at the cards and you can see, and I get more in depth. Something happens when the camera's just on the cards. It could be me just getting used to this, or it could just be like I have a few moments to take a step back, whatever. I've just noticed that there's a shift sometimes, or like even more that comes through the story. So I think that me saying that is connected to you not knowing all the parts. There's something that you don't know all the parts to yet. So it's really important that it's not that you're sleeping on something or you're not acting on something. And it's not that you're stuck. That's not it at all. This situation just has to resolve certain parts that you can't control, because if you, again, like stepping in just to, it's not going to help anybody. So it's allowing this to fall, like letting the chips, I literally had chips fall the other day, letting the chips fall with where they may with the situation, and knowing that it's not because you're stuck. It's not because you're being lazy. Capricorn, lazy just depends on how you're using your energy, because you could be being lazy in one area where you're putting too much energy in another area. That's another conversation. This is more about you really like seeing the situation for what it is, and you not moving on anything until you know more. There's something you need to know more about. You may feel like you're being slighted, but again, don't take it personally just yet. Notice that, understand that trigger before you let it become something else. Hold on, I dropped a card or two. This is because it's possible that you had ideas of where you're supposed to be, and mentally you're just not there yet. You might have the things, everything you want, but mentally you're still not feeling your best. Or it's possible that the more you build, the less you feel inclined to go down that not good enough, need to do more, it's all my fault type situation. Yeah, you need to take accountability if that's what's necessary in this situation, but you can't think that only you is going to change anything. It's about how you're building, what you think is important in terms of the traditional way and the traditional trajectory, and also what's not important in that way, what's important in investing your time and energy into. 9 of Pentacles to 10 of Pentacles, you know what you want, ultimately. You just need not to be afraid to let it happen just as much as you work for it. You can work all you want, but again, there's some, do your work, but this is more about your personal life. This is more about how you take care of things creatively, and there's something that you want to share possibly with the world. It's going to help you deal with this King of Wands energy. It's an amazing magnetic energy. It just depends on how you use it. There's Mercury, the Magician also being a Sagittarius. It could be that you grew up a certain way and now you're seeing life differently, and it's taking a risk. Bottom of the deck. You've worked so hard to a certain structure, but now you're taking a risk, and this is about how you see life, how you deal with things, maybe emotionally, how you handle things externally, internally. There's a switch up happening. You're changing, you're evolving with everything that you've learned through Saturn and then just Venus for the past few months. You're now really implementing, and you're a type to always take action, especially when you notice something. You appreciate when someone points out something to you that you didn't know, even if you have resistance at first. That's a part of the understanding. That's the understanding in the body. So there's a certain type of respect you're gaining for. There could be a person in your life that you are, but more so than ever, you're learning how to communicate with what you want your home life, personal life to look like. And regardless of what anyone else, the way they see it, you're very personal when it comes to your partnership. So if there's also growth in your partnership happening, just know that there's something that you may need to work through with this person before things can move forward. It could be about an individuality, a lack thereof between the both of you, or this growth that's happening with your person, and something changes with them drastically, and you almost feel like you could feel slighted by it. But the truth is that you haven't seen all sides of the situation, and you've come so far and you've learned at this point, you're either really unraveling or you've learned not to let things control you, and you're learning how to deal with the things in the time that it's happening. And the risk that you're taking is by taking what you've learned and really putting it out there or into something important to you, into the things that, again, if you put so much work over here, you maybe have being lazy in this direction. So now it's time to kind of see it all for what it is and allow yourself to understand that there's nothing you could have changed, especially if you're someone that's reflecting this month. Though also at the same time, with flaws comes growth, with understanding that there's parts of you that need strengthening, or parts of you that need to step back from or take a different perspective of what has happened or what is happening, because this could be happening now, because we have it in the middle here, and to learn from that and to see that view and to understand that everything's good. It's just not within your control. Pisces season has, say to every sign, and I'll always say, like, Pisces season has a certain magic to it, and you kind of just gotta let it happen. It's just like, you've built the thing. Aquarius has molded, shifted, shaped, caused constriction. Now expansion is happening, and it's kind of softening and smoothing out everything. And you kind of just have to let it. Just go with it. Don't be too quick to react this month, is what I'm saying to you. The waters are going to be shifting, and do what you can control. All right, Capricorn, second part. And information to work with me is below, and I will see you next month.